Hello, grade 12s. Back again for the last question. 4 arrays. Array manipulation, and they call it problem solving programming. And this is where you'd find your more difficult questions. It's 30 marks, but give it a good go. Parking group has requested your assistance. Implementation of the calculation cost. When vehicles exit a parking area. Right. So here's the interface. Display and registration of We are given two parallel one-dimensional arrays, AR reg numbers and AR entry times, with registration numbers and entry times of 20 vehicles that are parked. So the entry time, so these cars are already parked in their bays at such and such a time. And both of the arrays are strings. They have the registration number in the one array and the entry times for that particular car in the other array. Parallel meaning this registration CA123456 entered at 0800. And as you know, that's what parallel arrays are. The index of one matches the index of the other. And both of these arrays are strings. Take note of that. Then they say write code to display the number, the registration number, and time of entry for the vehicle stored in the arrays. So you're going to use the index number 1 to 20 and the strings in each of them. Easy peasy question, 7 marks. And because we're going through an array of exactly 20 strings, we're going to use a for loop from 1 to 20. So we go and get our for loop counter variable. K. I'll normally use K. You can use any for loop counter that you want. So for K, colon equals 1 to 20. Do. And then begin and end. And we are going to display in which component? Already question 4. Already question 4. Dot lines. Dot add. Int to string K comes first. And use a #9. And then ARR reg numbers, box number K, and then plus #9. Join that to ARR entry times box number K. And yeah, 7 marks. Is it really that easy? I guess so. Run the program. See if I typed everything right. They've given you the headings there already. Display. And there it is. Basic. 7 marks. Don't ask me why that's 7 marks. It was too easy. Anyway, moving on to 4.2 for the 23 marks remaining of the 30 mark question. Exit the parking area. The amount of time a vehicle spent in the park is used to determine the tariff per hour. Cost of parking. We'll calculate per hour tariff. The first 30 minutes is free, 31 minutes are 2 hours, 50 rand per hour, more than 2 hours and less than or equal to 4 hours. Oh my soul. 40 per hour and more than 4 hours, 30 rand per hour. The exit time is going to be entered into this edit box there in that format, and we're going to choose a registration number there. So if I run this program, will the reg numbers already be in the combo box? Yep, they sure are. Anyway, so you'll choose one of those, you'll type in, and then you click on exit parking area. Right. So if the exit time is earlier than the entry time for the vehicle selected, well, we will have a problem. We have to say invalid exit time. Now, how are you going to determine if that exit time is before the entry time? So that's the first issue. HHMM, are we working on a 24-hour clock? 15, 16, 17, 18. I guess we are, hey? We sure are. So the two first digits are the hours, and then you have the minutes after that. So you have to worry about the minutes as well, because if person tries to exit at this person came in at 14:24, and then the exit time says 14:14 or 14:23, then immediately that will be a problem. Then something must be displayed format shown below. Okay, I'm going to read the rest of this. Very important to read it carefully. Earlier than entry time. The exit time is valid. Present here. Okay, so we have to check the hours and the minutes. Just make sure that both are applicable. That the time entered will be greater than the time exited is greater than the time that was entered when the person came in. Cost of parking, okay, fine, that's another issue altogether. Must be rounded up to the next whole hour when calculating the cost. The registration number, entry time, exit time, time spent in the parking area, tariff hour. Oh, we've got to even calculate the time spent in the parking area. Tariff per hour and cost of parking must be displayed in already question 4. So this is one of those whenever you're working with times, it always is tricky. So this is a real problem solving question, not necessarily relate, okay, we do have a parallel arrays, but that's all. You still have to worry about times, hours and minutes. Not nice. And as I told you before, when I do this, I have not looked at the paper, so I'm basically looking at it through your eyes for the first time. Okay, time spent in the parking area, tariff per hour. So we have to calculate the time spent in the parking area. And then that whole calculation for the tariff per hour. And then, what else? Cost of parking here. And that was going to be involving this table here. Cost of parking, and must be in that format down there. So it's quite a problem-solving question. So if you have a look here, this is entry time, exit time, 5 hours and 5 minutes. We have to worry about all the eventualities. Registration of the selected vehicle and time entry must be deleted from, yeah, cool, we're going to have a deletion. So there we have our deleting from arrays, which is a procedure which you might remember. Click on the display button to see if the information has been removed from the arrays correctly. Yeah, so the display is going to re-display the arrays, which is the display button, this one over here, to make sure that everything was deleted correctly. So, okay. Now, first things first, let's go open an Excel spreadsheet. And of course, when you are doing your paper, always use pen and paper, and you can scribble on the back of your paper, or you can ask for paper to do rough work on. So it's a good idea when you're doing questions that involve a little bit of extra working out and testing your theories. So that's what we will do. So sorry, I should have opened this Excel spreadsheet earlier. Right. There is my super duper Excel spreadsheet. Should have done this earlier, eh? Should have just done it in the shortcut button. Anyway, so let us think about what we have to do. If hours and minutes. Right, let's think of all eventualities. If they came in at 12 hours and, let's say, 14 minutes, and they exit at, I can't put in 11, it's a 24-hour clock, we don't have to worry about that, let's keep it like that. So that's a good thing. So any number less than that, that'll be super easy. But if so it's just going to be a case of, 1300. So if it was 1300 that they left, then okay, when we look at that, we can see, okay, fine. So 60 minus 14, is what? Is it 46? Yeah, 46 minutes. So we know that the person would have spent 46 minutes. 60, so it's 1300, we're going to take 60 minus 14. Now, if this was 11 hours and 40 minutes, and they left at 1300, then we will subtract the exit, we say 13 minus 1, 12, 11, which is 2 hours. Okay, 2 hours. And if this number is less, let's say this was 05. Okay, then we have a bit of a problem, don't we? Then we have to subtract 1 from the hour, make it 1 hour, and then we have to worry about the 60 minutes minus 5, which will be 55, and subtract 14 from that, and that will give us, sorry, excuse my, 55 minus 14 is 1, is 31. So that is the complication of this whole thing. When we were to put that in code, if the minutes is less than, the minutes of exit is less than the minutes of entry, we have to subtract 1 hour from our hours here. Okay, the hours can be more. And then we have to say 60 minus 5 60 minus 5. Oops, no, sorry about that. 60 minus 5 will give us 55. Give us that, and then we have to take the number of minutes from that number, and then we'll get 1 hour and 31 minutes. So we have to worry about that. If, let's say this is 12, and then we will have 1 hour difference between the hours, and then we have to subtract 1 hour from that, so it'll be 0 hours and 31 minutes. So let's think about, am I correct over here? If you enter at 12 hours and 40 minutes, you leave at 13:05, then how many minutes would we have been in there? (13:05). Would we have been in at 31 minutes? That is the question. Is that correct? So if I go and look at my round, if I think in my head of the round clock, that's where it's helpful to have a round clock. And if you picture it on the dial, 14 past 12, and 14 past 12, and you go up to 12:50, say 12:50. I don't think it's 1 minute. I don't think it's 31. Because if you had to go from 12:14 to 12, say 12:59, say, then that would be how many minutes? From 12:14 and you enter and you exit at 12:59, then wait, let's just make it easier. Sorry, I'm going a bit bonkers here. So that would obviously be 60 minus 14, which is 46 minutes. Am I right? Oops. Dollar types. Still dollar types. Still dollar types. It would be 46 minutes, wouldn't it? And then if you add another 5, because it'll be 13:05, then it's actually going to be more. Yeah, that's right. So I was wrong. So if you go from 12:14 to 1300, no, 12 from 12 o'clock to 100, from 12 o'clock to 13 o'clock, from 12 to 1, then we have 60 minutes, and 60 minus 14 is 46 minutes. Therefore, you add another 5 to this equation, we have actually got at 5 you actually have 51 minutes. not what I had, 31. So we have to worry about that in our calculation. This is why it's called problem solving. Not fun, always not fun dealing with time, hours and minutes. Yeah, so we have to think of a formula that we're going to put in our program to represent this dilemma. If the person entered at 12:14 and exited at 13:05, this is our more complex situation that we must remember to deal with in our code. Then what do? Well, we take 60 minus, what did I do? I said 60 minus 14, which gave me 46 minutes, and then I added 5, and then I added this number. So that is my formula I'm going to use in the story. If the hour is equal to, no, if the hour is one more, if the exit hour is one more or greater than the entry hour, then we're going to check the minutes. If the exit minutes is smaller than the entry minutes, well, then we have to subtract 1 from our resulting hours, because it was 1, remember? We're going to subtract 1 so that we'll have 0, and then we're going to do this formula. We'll say 60 minus the entry and then add the exit minutes. There's my formula. So we have to figure that out by rough work, and this has to go into code. The other problem is there another problem? I'm trying to think of all the worst problems. Well, obviously if the hours are equal and the minutes exit is less than the minutes entry, then it's invalid. If the hours are greater, if the exit hour is greater, that's all we have to worry about. We don't have to worry. So if the exit hour is greater than the entry hour, then we don't have any problems at all. We can say, okay, it's valid. But if the hours are equal, entry and exit, but the exit minutes are less than the entry minutes, then we have a serious problem. That's an invalid time. And of course, if the hour exit is less than the hour entry, we are good to say no, 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 it's invalid. So I've figured out that part, and this difficult scenario here. So if the hour is greater, our exit is greater than our entry, but the minute exit is less than the minute entry, we will subtract 1 from the hour. After we've found the difference of the hours, we'll just take 1 away from that, and we will use this formula 60 minus the entry minutes and then add the exit minutes, and then we will get the right amount of minutes. So it took a while to get to that point. So let's go and back to our little interface. We know we're going to choose a registration number and go and look for it in the array called RED, ARR reg numbers. I'm going to go from 1 to 20 and find it. If we find it, then we have to do all of this calculation, because we have to go and check out the corresponding array entry of the AR entry times, corresponding index or box of AR entry times. Question is, are we going to stop our loop when we find a match? Yep, we shall. Just because we can. So we're going to go through, look for that. We'll read that and put it into a string. Why not? So let's go and get our input. First things first, easiest things first. S reg and S time. Alright, S exit. Colon strings. Well, they're all strings for now. Yep. So S reg, go get our input, and we get our input from the combo box in the following manner. CMB question 4 dot text, easy peasy, just CMB question 4 dot text, and S exit, it's going to be a string for now, that will be EDT question 4 EDT Q4 dot text. Right, now I said that I want to stop the loop. I'm going to go through and look for my sreg in the array called AR reg numbers, but because I'm really kind to the processor, I don't want to make poor processor tired, I will get a Boolean flag, set it to false, and while what? Because I'm going to use a while loop, better make a counter which goes through that array from 1 to 20. Set my counter equal to 0, and while counter is less than 20, while our count is less than 20, and bbound equals false, but hey, remember, we have to go and put our two conditions in brackets, or else begin and end. So we increment our count. It's going to go up to 20. I'm not using a for loop because I'm just being nice. Increment our counter, it's going to go up to 20. The last one, it'll be right, it'll be 19, it'll be 20. And once it hits, oops, should we make it while it's less than, we're setting it north there, it's to 1. When it gets to the number 19, fine, increment then is 20 out, that's right. Right, if sreg equals ARR, what's my registration? What's my goodies? ARR array, ARR reg numbers, ARR reg numbers, box number R count, square brackets, equal to that. Then we go and get our time, but we'll set our Boolean flag to false. Yeah, we'll go our S exit time. Wait, no. S entry time. S entry time. The entry time from the corresponding parallel array called ARR entry times. So if it's box number 12, then it'll be box number 12 over here. ARR entry times square brackets R count. Well, we can keep track of that. Yeah, well, we will have S entry perfectly fine there. It should be good to go. We've got S entry. Now all we have to do is go and see. You know, the exit time is from this edit box over here, that one, and the entry time is from the array. And now I've got to separate those hours and minutes, so I've got to have 4 variables which will be integers. I entry hour, oops, and I exit hour, then I entry minutes, and I exit minutes, da 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 da. Okay, alright. Our int hour, our exit hour, our int minute, our exit minute. Yep. So now we're going to go and get all those things from the strings. We know it's 2 and then a colon and 2. 2 digits, a colon and 2 digits. So I int hour colon equals string to int. Copy from the entry will be from S entry. S entry, comma 1, comma pause. There we do our string handling thingamajig. I always get this wrong. I forget to put a bracket here. Pause has only got 2 parameters. -1, and we're going to use our super duper delete method. One shouldn't do it any other way, and we don't need S entry anymore after we've done this, so we can delete it. We can delete everything including the colon, and then we'll have what's left will be the minutes. Oops. 1 to the pause of the I'm done now. 1 to the pause of the semicolon of the colon in S entry. So guess what I'm gonna do, guys? You know it. Oh no, you don't know it. No, I'm not gonna do copy and paste it. I int minutes colon equals string to int S entry, because that will be what is left after we've deleted the colon and we convert it to integer. What do we do when we convert to an integer? It takes away the leading 0. Okay, that is what happens. Now we can use the same formula for our exit and S exit. And of course, I'm going to copy and paste and use my autofill handle. So this one is going to be our exit hours. Why must I reinvent the wheel, guys? You just copy and paste S exit. And then use your autofill handle and make sure you fill in everything properly, and then you know, as long as the original code is correct, shouldn't have a problem. But of course the original code isn't correct because I left a bracket here, so go and plug the bracket in. Rightio, and off we go. Sorry. Okay, so we got our entry hour and our exit hour, our entry minutes and our exit minutes. We have to have a check now. If, remember this thing that we've figured out over here, if the hours are equal to each other. If our int hour equals our exit hour, then we're going to go and check. Don't forget your begin and end, because we don't want to have that wrong. If our exit minutes is exit min, if that is less than our entry minutes. Remember, if the exit number of minutes is less and the hours are equal, then we know, like, hey, that's an invalid thing. It's invalid. So we will, let's make a Boolean flag. We can use Boolean flags. Be valid. And we're going to set be valid false. Now, what if the exit hour is less than our exit hour is less than our entry hour? Then if the exit hour is less than the entry hour, then B valid is false. So straight off the bat. Now I'm going to use nested if then else statements, guys. We have to. Else begin and end. Because if the exit hour is less than the entry hour, then begin and end. Else we'll check if it's equal, then we're going to do a whole big thing like that. But inside this if then statement I have to use another else, because else if, well, I'm going to use begin and end here. This is quite a mission, as you can see, and you have to keep track of your logic every step of the way. So let me just get that there. So if the entry hour, the exit hour is less than entry hour, we say B valid false. If the entry hour is equal to the exit hour, then we've got to check if the minutes are less, and we'll say B valid is false. Else, if, now what if the exit minutes are equal to the entry minutes? That means, seriously dude, naught. No time was spent in the parking area at all, but we want to go and calculate the amount of time spent in the parking area. If our exit minutes is equal to our end minutes, then we're going to have an, they say we have to calculate the number of hours and minutes spent in the parking area, and they give us another little rule here that says, where is it? We need to know the time spent in the parking area. See, time spent, so many hours and so many minutes. So we have to have the number of hours and minutes. We need variables for that as well. I hours and I minutes, which would be our hours and minutes spent in the parking area. And there's something about rounding up. Where is it? Minutes must be rounded to the next whole hour. Oh, only when calculating the cost. So don't worry about that now. We still have to have the individual number of hours and minutes spent. So let's make some variables. I hours and I minutes, just to be short and sweet. So if we'll make our hours equal to naught if the exit minutes is equal to the entry minutes, then begin and end. Sure. Our hours equals naught and our minutes equals naught. We're going to round it up, remember. Else begin. So if the hours are equal, we check the minutes, and if they're less than, we say B valid is false. Else, if they're equal, we're checking the minutes now for the hours. If the minutes are equal, then we'll have no hours. Else, we have to go and subtract the number of minutes, begin and end. Our hours colon equals naught, and our minutes colon equals our exit minutes minus our entry minutes. So we have that. Now what if the number of hours. So this is if the hours are equal. But over here, if exit hours is greater than entry hours. So there we have another story. This one is if they are equal. This one is less. We have totally b value is false. If the hours are equal to each other. And then we check the minutes, and the exit minutes are less than the entry minutes, and b value is false. Else, if they're equal to each other, we set the number of time spent to naught, and if they're not equal to each other, then we subtract them. So we have naught hours and so many minutes. But here we have to have a worry about if the exit hours is greater than entry hours. Well, in the scenario of this where we have, let's say 14 and then we have 2, so we have to subtract the number of hours straight away. So we have r hours equals r exit hours minus r entry hours. And then we have to check if our exit minutes is equal to our entry minutes. I know I'm probably doing this the wrong way, people, and I'm sure some of you must say, but you just do it quicker that way. I'm just going through every single step of the logic bit by bit. So if the exit minutes is equal to the entry minutes and the hours, so this is the eventuality for less than, equal to, and this one is for, you have to make sure that you have your, again, compartmentalize everything. This is if the entry hours is equal to the extra hours. We've done the problem for the exit rate less than. We've dealt with the problem of the hours being equal to each other. Now we're dealing with the problem of the exit hours being greater than the entry hours. So we calculate our hours first, but we might have to change that. If the exit minutes equal to the entry minutes, then I minutes will be equal to naught, not so. For instance, if it is like that, yeah, we could have just subtracted them in. Anyway, then we're going to have another else part here. Oops, sorry. Else. If our exit minutes is greater than our end minutes, then begin and end. Always make sure we do begin and end, just in case. Maybe I'm doing more than one thing. Yes, I could have put begin and end here too. Yeah, I could have done that. Begin and end. Okay, that will be fine. Use your indentation so we keep track of everything. So I've got here, if the exit minutes are equal to the entry minutes, our minutes will be naught. Yeah, I could have just subtracted them. But if the exit minutes is greater than our entry minutes, well, the I minutes will be equal to, obviously, our exit min minus our entry min. But what if it's less? Else begin and end. So take note, we're dealing with the minutes now for if the exit hours are greater than the entry hours. So if it's less, then guess what we're doing, the formula that I put over here. So if this was like 5 or 3 or 2 or whatever, even if it was just 13, then we would subtract 1 from that. We would say 60 minus the entry minutes and then add those number of minutes to that. So that's the formula that I figured out. So I'll decrement our hours. Do you know what DC means? Taking 1 away. And then I will subtract the, what is it, the entry minutes, say 60 minus entry minutes. So our minutes will be equal to 60 minus our entry minutes. Our end min. And then you will add our exit min. Where did I get that from? My little working out. So 60 minus 14 is 46. Add 13. So now we have a, so it'll be 59. Yeah, 59, wouldn't it? 59 minutes, am I correct? 60 minus 14, is that 46? Add 13 to it. 59. There we go. And we subtracted 1. So there we go. That's that done. And after this whole thing here, okay, let's set B valid equal to true before we go through all of this. You assume it's true, and it's very important to put that in there because I'm doing a be valid story. Okay, I'm using Boolean flag, setting it to true, and then only if we find a fault then we'll set it to false. And right at the end of this whole bunch of if-then statements, which happened starting from there, we'll say over here, if be valid equals false, then show message. I mean, we're going to basically tell the user invalid, where is it, invalid exit number, and I'm going to exit. Oh no, we just display in the rich edit. Already question 4. Already question 4, and if the exit time is valid, the processing can proceed. So I'm just going to exit the procedure. Already question 4 dot lines dot add invalid exit time. Invalid exit time. And I'm also going to exit this button click event. I don't have to worry, processor won't carry on with the rest of the instructions, so no else required here. So if everything's valid, now we're going to work out the amount. So we will have our minutes and our hours sorted. Okay, our minutes and our hours will be sorted. And we're going to calculate the cost of parking. So if our hours is naught, then we've got to calculate our tariff. Our tariff, it must be real. Whenever you're dealing with money, make a variable called R tariff. R tariff colon real. So if R hours equals naught, then our tariff will be colon equal to, oops, we have to check if it's first 30 minutes is free. Aha, we have to check the minutes. Then if our tariff equals naught, then if our minutes is less than or equal to 30, then I minutes, so not R minutes, I minutes. Then R tariff colon equals naught. Else, now if you say 30 minutes, you know, we could have put this in an and. If I hours is equal to naught and I minutes less than or equal to 30, then our tariff is 0. Okay, I do not actually need an else here. And we could have even used a case, but I'm not going to go there because this is a complex thing. If R hours equals 0 and I minutes is greater than 30, then we're going to say our tariff colon equals, we have to assume it's 1 hour, 31 minutes to 2 hours. Oh, okay. 31 minutes to 2 hours. So, yeah, case would probably be a good idea. Because it's going to be quite complex. We'll use case. So, case, I minutes of, right. Yeah. We have 40, 50 minutes, 31 minutes to 2 hours. The first 30 minutes is free. 31 minutes to 2 hours. Oh, my soul. Maybe if we convert everything to minutes, that would be a good idea. Right, if we convert everything to minutes, so, yeah, because we know 2 hours is 120 minutes. And so 4 hours is how many? 4 6s are 36. No, what? 6 was a 24. 6,000. So it's 240. 4 hours, 240 minutes. 2 hours, 120 minutes. So I'm going to convert everything to minutes, guys. Say 31 minutes to 2 hours. So if you convert everything to minutes, hours and minutes that are spent parking, scrap that. Do it all over again. I'm going to say I minutes. The total number of minutes is going to be the number of hours times 60 plus R minutes. R minutes will be equal to R hours times 60 plus R minutes, the minutes that are there. So I'm just using the same variable, the total number of minutes, and then I'm going to say case R minutes. I can use case R minutes of. Get my semicolon there. Just got to work out the tariff. See, 0 to 30. Oops, sorry. 30 colon R tariff colon equals 0. Then we have 31 to, how much is 2 hours? 120, not so? 120 colon R tariff colon equals, now we might have to do begin and end here. So let's do a begin and end here and calculate a whole lot of things inside begin and end. A lot of work here for 26, 23 marks. Maybe I'm doing it longer than I should, but never mind. Time spent in parking area. Minutes we run up the next whole hour when calculating the cost. Okay, so minutes must be run to the next whole hour. Damn it. We're going to divide, sorry for swearing, oh my word. So we put everything into minutes so we could use a case structure. So if we have a number like, what is 60 plus 59? Okay, 60 plus 59. 119. So if we have 119 minutes, and we divide that by 60, going back again, we're going to divide by 60. Let's see, what do we get? That divided by 60. Right. Oops, sorry. Let's see what our decimal point number is here. Okay, just make the cell larger. 1.993. So we are going to round the number up to an hour. So any minutes, when calculating the cost, we round it up. So when we divide, we're actually going to round the next whole hour when calculating the cost. We sure are. So we have to multiply. Let's have a look at our table again. 31 minutes are 2 hours. So we know that it goes to 31 to 120. We're going to multiply 50 Rand times by round. We'll go around I minutes divided by 60. I'm rounding it to the next whole number. I didn't have to put begin and end there. I'm only doing one thing. What about the next case? We have 1 to 1 minutes, 2, more than 2 hours and less than or equal to 4 hours. So 4 sixes are 24, 240 minutes. 240, we will say that our tariff equals, and this doesn't work at the end, 40 times by rounding the number of minutes. Remember, we put everything into minutes, calculate it all into minutes there. 40 times by round, and then anything over that else, our tariff equals this else part. We didn't have to put begin and end there. I just was wondering that I might have to do more than one thing. That's why I did. Put it back. Else, our tariff equals 30 Rand per hour. So we put a 30 over here. We still round our minutes. And we hope that is correct. Right, cost of parking, our tariff, registration, our entry number, exit time, spend, parking, all of that must be displayed in the rich edit in this nice little thing. We're going to go and get all our details and display it in the rich edit, and we still got to delete. Yeah, that actually is the easy part. If you remember our formula. I'll show that to you just now. This video is taking long, isn't it? Right, so we have to display everything. RED, question 4. Dot lines, dot add. And what do we want to put in first? It is the registration number. Registration number, colon, plus, that would be easy. We'll just use the one that was chosen from SREG, and yeah, we'll use SREG, so that was chosen. Easy peasy, just use that one. SREG. Next thing that we have to put in already, question 4, we have to put in our entry time, plus. Now we have to make sure we've got our S entry time here, and we did it when we went through the while loop. See, go get the entry time from the array. So S entry is that. plus S entry. Okay, I should really copy and paste. Other things we have to put in. Exit time. Plus yes, exit. That was typed into the edit box. Then time spent. Time spent. I'm gonna have to do something here because remember I used I minutes over here. It should be I total minutes because I don't want to use I hours and I minutes. I total minutes. So I'll have to use I total minutes here. And here. And here. Should have made a separate thingy, separate variable. My total minutes. Why? Because I've got to keep our hours and our minutes safe for display. So I've got to go and make I total minutes. You know, when I converted the hours and the minutes to only hours, I should have used another variable. I thought that maybe that would happen. So, now, int to string hours, join that to a colon, and join that to int to string I minutes. Oh, wait, no, time spent, hours, not a colon. I don't have to reconstruct that. And join it to the word minutes. And a nice word and. Okay, next thing that we have to do is tariff per hour. Per hour. They're really asking a lot here in this question. Sorry for moaning. We have to find out what the tariff per hour is, and we're supposed to have you know, given that. Oh my word! Well, we can change this around. We need to actually put in a begin and end on each one of these cases here, because we have to have it as a string, what the tariff is, well, as an integer or something. So begin and end. We have to keep track of whether we're using 50 or 40 or naught, you know, which is nasty. Real nasty. There's all this work to do. And over here also, but at least you're getting to know how to use your case structure. So yeah, we have to have another variable called S tariff colon equals naught. I'm just going to use a string because it's easy to go and put it in S tar. So I'll just say S tar equals 50. And you know, they want to display it as naught. Oh yes, they do. Hey, R naught rand, R 50 rand. I know it's probably not the best way to do it, but R 40 and over here could have put that into a variable, a real number, and then converted string to float, and then do these calculations afterwards. So I'm doing it the long way, but it's still right, and you'd still get your marks for that. The only thing I must just get S star as my string here. Star. So ideally, what you would have done, maybe, is to have one calculation over here at the end of this case and just getting the tariff. And then doing one calculation at the bottom here after the case structure. I'm just doing this plus star. And it's still correct. I won't get marked wrong. It's problem solving. It really does things in a different way. Then, what else do we have to put in? Cost of parking, the actual cost itself, and mine was R tariff. Cost of parking plus, now you do your float to string F, R tariff, comma FF currency, 8, 2, and that's it. Okay, so let's run to see if I have any syntax errors. This is a very long question, and you're probably tired now and switched off. I have to do this, people. We have to do this. Have to do it. Now, should really clear the rich head because everything's going to be displayed in the rich head. You see there? Registration number. And we're going to go and check entry time, exit time. Now, why does it say entry time 22? Oh, because I copied and deleted, didn't I? Copied and deleted my S entry and S exit. So we have to keep that safe. There's a lot to think about here. By X reg time, I call another variable entry S exit time. And then over here, I have to say S exit time, so I can keep them safe. So, because remember sreg and sn, s-exit, we copied and deleted. So sreg time and s-exit time, I'm just going to just keep them safe there. Oh wait, s-exit time. And then I use s-exit and sreg. So, s-exit time, I'm going to make them variables. Okay, so then I copied and deleted from s-exit and s-reg, but I've got these two safe. So over here I must display s-entry time and s-exit time. Now what am I doing here? Stupid. No, this is s-reg. S-entry time. S-entry time. Oh wait, it's exit, isn't it? S-exit time. Your exit time. Is exit now. S-entry. I'm going to make two variables. Here, s-entry time equals s-entry. S-entry time, s-exit time, s-entry. Stupid me. entry time and S exit time. S reg, no, S reg doesn't have to be checked, doesn't have to be kept safe. The exit time they get from the edit box. I must make another two variables equal to it, so because the one variable I'm going to be copying and deleting. And the entry time, let's make another variable equal to it to keep it safe, because the one variable I'm going to copy and delete from, as you can see we did here, using S exit and S entry. But the entry time and exit time can be kept safe in those two variables, because we will have a problem because we will have deleted, copied and deleted from them. So that was a right. Okay, fine. Now let's test our program with all of these things. Display, choose. We actually should use data from, they give us data to test with. So I'm going to BEC 558. EC, exit time 1305. So let's see, BBC, BC 558. Let's go down, we should have cleared the Richard today. Tariff hour 40, 2 hours and 50 minutes. And 1420, yay. Let's try another one. Let's try an invalid one. ALP 439GP, entry 1541, exit 1305. ALP 439GP. ALP. Let's use the default time that they put there. That's what they give us. Let's go and see what the Richard it says. Yep, so my program code is working 100%. All we have to do now is delete from the two arrays. Yeah, we have to delete from the two arrays. So how do we do that? Okay, so let's demonstrate. I love these demonstrations. So I'm going to put some random numbers into boxes here. Let's say we have these contents. Wait, random. Let's put random letters into array boxes. Okay, so there we have an array of items, and they are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. If I want to delete, let's say I want to delete this one. Let's say I want to delete that one. Then what I have to do is move all of those into this one. So I'm going to go from, so we're going to go from 1, no, we're going to go from this number 2, from 2 to 4. Okay, we're going to take that one and put it in there, and then that one and put it in there. So it's going to, so for K equals 2 to 4, what will I do? I will say ARR box number K plus 1 will be equal to AR box number K. Do you think that will go into each other? So if K is 2, then ARK plus 1 is 3. And 3 is going to go into there. So this one is going to be copied into there. Then for K equals 3, because remember K is going 2, 3, then box number 4 is going to go into box number 3's place. Then what do? our counter must now be equal to 4 minus 1. Before, our counter was equal to how much? It was equal to 4. So our count was 4. Now we've got to decrement our count, and then from now on we only refer to 1 to 3, not 1 to 4. So that is our formula. So you're going to go from the box number that you want to delete and then to the last item, and then you delete the item. So that is how it's going to work. That's how we delete from an array. So use a for loop K. We know that our number of boxes are 20. I'm going to get my for loop count over here. What we have to do is make sure when we find the match, which box number are we in. Remember, we're looking for the registration number. We have to keep track of what our count is. So I'm going to call that inum to delete. And when I find my match right at the beginning here, I'm going to say inum to delete will be equal to that box number that I'm going to delete. So inum to delete will be equal to whatever our count is here. Okay? So we increment our count, that'll be our box number, and if it's equal, then we get our number to delete. That's keeping it safe. It's all about keeping data safe if we want to use later on, because over here we have to use it to delete. So we're going to say for k equals 1 inum to delete to box number 20, the last box, do begin and end. Then we're going to say ARR, what is it? You know, they make it to 20, but we're going to have to display to another number, you know what I mean? Yeah. They haven't kept a count. But anyway, we're going to delete from AR reg numbers, but remember, you have to do the same from AR entry times. Whatever you do in the one array, you have to do in the other. If I'm going to delete a box number there, I've got to delete the corresponding box number over here. So AR reg numbers and AR entry times both have to have their items deleted. AR reg numbers, box number, what did I? K plus 1. No! Box number K equals K plus 1. Yeah, but I got it all wrong. This one, so sorry, people. Box number K must be equal to that one. That one must equal to be that one. Now, what if... So we can't go to 4, we've got to go to 21. I mean, got to go to 3. I got it wrong. So K equals 2 to 3, not 4. I was actually using the algorithm for inserting. So sorry, people. I really messed you around there. If I want to delete number 2, okay, let's go and put it in again, shall we? No. Let's say we've got... Okay, let's go and put another one in there. And let's just put numbers in there. You want to delete that because that looks odd. Going back to the algorithm. Sorry about that. Back to the algorithm. If I want to go and delete, I've got to go from 2 to this one. Because I'm going to say this box number 2 is equal to that one. I'm sure you noticed that I made a mistake there. And then this box number equals to that one. So if this one was that, then this must now be this. And we're only going from 1 to 3. And that will not be a factor anymore. It's K equals K plus 1. Yikes. How can I be so stupid. K colon equals A or R reg numbers box number K plus 1. And this must go from 1 not to 20 but to 19. And then ARR entry times box number K must be equal to AR entry times box number K plus 1. Now, of course, we only want to display up to 19. So it would be a good idea to have a global variable called inum entries and make that equal to something. Inum entries colon integer and in the display, wait, yeah, it could actually be a constant, not a, you can't make it a constant. We know that 20 must, when we display, we don't want to display up to 20, we only want to display up to 19. So when we delete it, yeah, over here, when we delete, we've got to say inum entries, decrement inum entries. Now inum entries must be equal to something, and the best place to do that is in onActivate event. Make inum entries colon equal to 20, and then when we display over here in the display button, we go to inum entries, and now it'll work. When we delete, we will basically decrement over here inum entries, and that's going to go to inum entries minus 1. That is how we have to do it, because when we delete from an array, we know that we're moving everything up 1. So we're going to move that one into that one and that one into that one, and we're going to be left with one box that's not going to be used anymore. But we don't put an empty string in there, we just leave it, and we count. Then our counter must then be that 1 to 3 and not to 4. So this is the correct code for deleting, going from the box number that we want to delete to minus 1 and removing everything up. So box number K2 is going to be 3s, box number 3 is going to be number 4, and so on. And I'm so sorry about that, and if you managed to stay this long, well done. And I really hope you lots of success in your exams, and I'm sure you will get that success. So what I'm going to do here very quickly is to see if we actually delete and we just click the display button, and then you can see the BEC, so such and such number has been removed. So it worked, and the time was removed as well. So there's your solution. Good luck with programming. Well done for hanging in this long, and I will miss you.